Hey guys, what's up? Irrelevant Dusty Smith here. And something happened this weekend that was very controversial. I wanted to talk about a popular anti-SJW skeptic YouTuber named Andrew Race Warski decided he was going to platform one of the alt-right's main leaders, Richard Spencer, and set up a debate with him, with Warski playing the role as one of the moderators. And the debate became the most popular live stream on all of YouTube. Ended up being seen by well over 100,000 people. And when it was over, the white supremacy movement took to the internet to declare victory. They were incredibly giddy that they got this huge platform to spread white supremacy on. In fact, it seemed to re-energize the entire white supremacy movement. After the incredibly poor optics that happened because of the Charlottesville rally and the death of Heather Heyer, they seemed to kind of be on the decline. But after this debate, they were fucking jazzed. And afterwards, they were out in mass force spreading white supremacy propaganda again. And unsurprisingly, after this happened, Warski took a whole lot of shit from a whole lot of people. A lot of people, including myself, felt like Andy Warski was incredibly irresponsible for the way he set this whole thing up. And it started a really interesting debate on the internet about whether we should be platforming these white supremacists or not, whether we should give them a megaphone to spread their white supremacy propaganda, whether we should give them access to our larger platforms, or whether we should shun them and just leave them to have their own platforms and use our platforms to mock and ridicule them. And I fully admit I was really annoyed by how this whole thing went down. I thought it actually helped the white supremacy movement, kind of gave them a shot in the arm that they should not have had. And a whole lot of people agreed with me. But a whole lot of people didn't agree with me too. A lot of people felt like Warski did absolutely nothing wrong. And despite the rumors, I'm actually a really open-minded guy. I listened to all the feedback, I contemplated it, and now I'm more on the fence than I was before. So I thought I would just make this video and open the dialogue about it. I thought I would explain to you guys exactly what happened. I thought I would lay out both sides of the argument. And then maybe we can have a meaningful dialogue about the best way to handle these white supremacists. So let me lay out exactly what happened here, and then you guys can chime in and give me your opinion on the situation. So you guys remember a little over a year ago when I got in a lot of trouble, lost a huge part of my audience for coming out and saying that I thought the skeptic community was focusing too much on blaming everything on the left and social justice warriors and kind of letting conservatives slide on everything, and how the blame the everything on the left mentality was pushing everything to the right and had a very real possibility of helping Donald Trump to be president, which would be an absolute disaster. And I'll be the first one to admit it. Damn, I was really wrong about all that, wasn't I? Well, anyway, I made a couple videos explaining why I was personally choosing to focus on the conservatives and what the conservatives were doing, and not jumping on the whole anti-SJW blame everything on the left bandwagon, even though that was the popular thing. I read what the conservatives said they were trying to do. I knew how devastatingly bad it would be for our society, and I wanted to fight against it. Well, one of the people that made videos making fun of me for this was Andrew Warski. At the time, Warski was nowhere near as popular as he is now. But over the year, he's rode the anti-SJW trend that's really incredibly popular on YouTube, and now has even more subs than I do. So anyway, at the time, I didn't really know who he was, but somebody asked me to go on a live stream and talk to him and Bearing. So of course I was like, all right, fuck yeah, I'll go defend my position to you guys. So I went on this live stream and I debated him and Bearing 3 against 1. And basically, it was just them asking me questions and then interrupting me continuously when I would try to answer the question. One of the most frustrating experiences of my life was basically just a dog pile. Made even more frustrating by the fact that my dogs had chewed up my headphones, and so I had to use these little shitty earbuds I found in the closet, and I could barely hear what the fuck anybody was saying. Anyway, the whole thing turned into a giant shit show. So fast forward to this weekend. The white supremacy movement's main leader, Richard Spencer, apparently has been going out and trying to find any platform he can get on. After the Charlottesville rally, he's kind of been shunned a bit. He's been having problems to find a popular outlet that will allow him to spew his white supremacist propaganda. So apparently recently he's been messaging everybody, scrambling to try to find a large platform to spew his bullshit on. And obviously Warski saw this as a huge opportunity. Controversy equals ratings, and he knew this would be great for his channel. So he decided to set up a debate between Richard Spencer and a few other people on his channel. And a lot of people felt like the way he went about this was incredibly irresponsible. And here's why. So on one side, you had Richard Spencer, who is right now the father of the white supremacy movement, a guy who believes in setting up a white ethno-state, a guy who is openly calling for some kind of ethnic cleansing. He's a really well-educated guy, well-spoken, He's not like your typical white supremacist, an inbred redneck, like me. He dresses nice, he speaks well, he has a cool fashy haircut, and his white supremacy message seems to really resonate with a lot of people on the right. And also, to be on Spencer's side, he invited Millennial Woes, who is another one of these white supremacists, ethno-state supporting, anti-Jewish dipshits who just can't wait to get rid of the darkies. And then on the other side, to oppose Richard Spencer, he invited Sticks and Hammer 666, who is also a fucking conservative. This is a guy who in the past has said he is on the fringes of the alt-right, has even referred to himself as alt-light, a guy that doesn't really seem to like Jews very much, and for the most part, a guy that agrees with Spencer on a lot of stuff, but absolutely does not agree about the white ethno-state being created. And also to oppose Richard Spencer, he brought on Sargon, who is an incredibly popular YouTuber who spends most of his time shitting on the left, shilling for pretty much every conservative politician that's running on Earth. Sargon is even on record defending white supremacists against the death of Heather Heyer, who you guys might remember was run over during the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally by a crazed white supremacist. Sargon claims she wasn't killed by any white supremacist and she was never hit by a car and actually was just scared and died of a heart attack. Here's a picture of Heather Heyer right here. I've circled her in red. Her head's being thrown back and her arms being thrown back. It looks very much like she has been hit by a car. And also the medical examiner has gone public and said she died of blunt force trauma by being hit by a car. And it's possible she had a heart attack after she was hit by the car. But according to Sargon, she's just a fat lady who got scared and had a heart attack. And the white supremacists really aren't to blame for that. So these are the two guys that Warski picked to go against the biggest white supremacist in the world right now. And moderating the debate was Andrew Warski himself, who is a self-described race realist. And this other guy Warski pays to be his co-host, named JF, who is also a race realist and a supporter of the ethno-state. He literally chose a race realist supporter of ethno-states to be a moderator of this debate, which went exactly like you would think it would. All he did was rah-rah for Richard Spencer. So anyway, that was the debate setup. Richard Spencer, the biggest alt-right guy in the world, Millennial Woes, another alt-right ethno-state wanting guy, versus Sargon and an alt-right guy named Sticks, with a race realist as a moderator and another moderator who is also a race realist and a guy who also wants ethno-states. So unsurprisingly, this is why people felt he was really irresponsible by putting on this debate. Now he claims he couldn't find any left-wing people to come on the show. I have no doubt believing he probably does have some trouble finding some left-wingers to come on the show. I mean, I've been on the show and I know how it is. He gets a left-winger on there and then they all dogpile him and won't let him talk. It's really frustrating and I don't really blame left-wingers for not wanting to go on there and being a part of it. But I also read on Twitter several left-wingers that said they would have been happy to do the show if they would have been asked. But regardless, the debate seemed really fucking slanted from the very beginning. And I'm not really going to go into the debate and what was said, what was discussed. I might do a later video where I go break down my problem with Richard Spencer's arguments and give my replies to them. But for now, I'll just say this. The Sticks and Hammer guy did a pretty decent job, did way better than anybody else, I thought. He's a pretty well-spoken, eloquent guy. Even though he's an alt-right personality, he did pretty well. And on review, I actually thought Sargon did an okay job. He got flustered in a few parts and didn't really come off very well. But at least he tried. Unfortunately for Sargon, afterwards the perception by most people is that he did not do very well at all. He lost a small amount of subs after the debate. Most likely, though, there were probably alt-righters who didn't like the fact that he was speaking out against Richard Spencer. And since Sargon has spent the last 2 years building up a right-wing audience, he has a ton of alt-righters in his audience now. So most of his loss was probably from alt-righters who didn't really like the fact that he was speaking out against Richard Spencer, mixed with other people who probably legitimately thought he did poorly in this debate. But mostly the whole thing was a big shit show. On these YouTube super chats, people can pay money to have their messages pop up that the host reads. And white supremacists were literally paying Andy Warski to read their propaganda live on the air, which he was doing. He literally took money from white supremacists to read white supremacist propaganda to over 100,000 people. And then he used the money that these white supremacists and other people had donated to him to pay all these people, including Richard Spencer, to be on his show. So he literally took money from white supremacists to pay a white supremacist to come on his show and spread white supremacy, which unsurprisingly is why he's taking so much shit. So anyway, like I said before, after this debate, the white supremacists were fucking thrilled. They felt like this was a major victory for them, and they were more re-energized than I've seen them in a long time. Richard Spencer took to Twitter to declare his victory over the skeptics. And Daily Stormer, the #1 white supremacy site on the internet, immediately took to their website to write articles celebrating their amazing victory. And they even declared Andy Warski the next big thing. They bragged about how much money Andy Warski made holding this debate. They claimed he made over $20,000. He said he didn't make that much. I have no idea. But they said Andy Warski's show is going to be a major part of the 2018 internet experience. I can tell you that. The alt-right is a cohesive movement now, and the time has come for us to clash with the rest of the supposed counterculture movements so that we may, as a society, reach on a consensus on what opposition to the modern liberal Jewish system should look like. And his show is as good as any of a place to start. Also want to give a shout out to Race Warski's sidekick, JF, who is really great. So congratulations, Warski. You got 2 thumbs up from the largest fucking white supremacist site on the goddamn internet. You're now the new it boy to the white supremacy movement. Not sure if that's what you were going for, but it happened. And so that's why this very rigorous debate sprung up about whether or not we should be irresponsibly platforming white supremacists. I was very, very critical of the whole thing. And I actually do think there's a correct way that you can platform these white supremacists. I thought Charles Barkley did an excellent job of it. Charles Barkley basically had Richard Spencer on and fucking crushed him. Afterwards, absolutely nobody was rushing out to declare victory on the white supremacy side. It was clear he was made to look like a fucking moron. But if you're going to platform these people, you have to make sure that you have it set up correctly from the very beginning before they even get on your show, where you can crush them, where there's no way they can fucking declare victory and re-energize their community. And I took to the internet to voice my criticism about this. It was my opinion that you should not platform these white supremacists. They already have their own platforms. He already has his own channel, his own Twitter. He already has plenty of avenues to say whatever the fuck he wants to say. You shouldn't give these guys your very large platform to spread their white supremacy bullshit on. Instead, it's much better just to shun them and ridicule them. Play videos they've made in the past and make fun of them, point out what fucking morons they are, pick everything they say apart, line by line. Because otherwise, by giving them a large platform to spew their propaganda on, you're only helping them. And so that's the opinion I expressed, and a lot of people agree with me, but then a lot of people didn't agree with me, and I thought I would give the other side too, because it really made me think, and now I'm more on the fence about it than I was before. First off, people said this is a free speech issue. They said that everybody can say whatever they want to say, even Richard Spencer. It's the marketplace of ideas. Let everybody say whatever they want to say, and the best ideas will win out in the end. Well, the thing about it is, in my opinion, this has absolutely nothing to do with free speech. First of all, not to be pedantic, but most of the time when these free speech warriors talk about free speech, they're not actually talking about free speech. They're talking about free expression. Free speech is when the government comes in and intrudes on your right to freely speak. Obviously, that doesn't apply here. What we're talking about is free expression. But since most people use these terms interchangeably, I'm going to go ahead and use the word free speech, even though I know the difference. But this actually has nothing to do with free speech or free expression. Yes, everybody has the right to say whatever they want to say, and Richard Spencer has plenty of platforms, his own platforms, to say whatever he wants to say. He has his own YouTube, he has his own Twitter, they have their own websites, they have plenty of avenues to say whatever the fuck they want. And if you were to intrude upon those things and take those things away from them, that would definitely be a violation of their free speech or free expression. However, not inviting somebody on your show to begin with is not a violation of their free speech to begin with. A lot of people are like, Dusty, you're just trying to censor Richard Spencer. This has nothing to do with censorship whatsoever. Let me explain it like this. Say you and another guy are on the street corner screaming, and you have a megaphone and he doesn't. If you decide not to give that guy your megaphone, is that a violation of his free speech? Are you censoring him because you refuse to give him your megaphone? Are you deplatforming him because you refuse to give him your megaphone? No, you're not. It has nothing to do with that. He's still perfectly free to say whatever the fuck he wants to say. He still has his own platform. Just because you don't give him your platform is not a violation of his free speech. It's not censorship, and it's not deplatforming. So that's not really an argument I'm very persuaded by. But an argument I am sort of persuaded by is the people that say Richard Spencer came off like a fucking idiot, and the best way to fight these people is just to give them a platform, let them say whatever the fuck they want to say, and the more people that see the stupid shit they're saying, the more people will be more likely against it. And this is the part I'm kind of torn on, Richard Spencer is a complete fucking moron. The shit he says is really stupid. But unfortunately, clearly, by the way they took to the internet to declare victory, there are a lot of people who are persuaded by these arguments. 49.9% of the population is of below average intelligence. There's a lot of fucking idiots out there. And when you have a guy like this, who is a leader in the white supremacy movement, which is an incredibly violent movement, allowing him to spread these ideas can absolutely be incredibly dangerous. Like it or not, he is very influential, he does influence idiots, and it can be dangerous. But at the same time, there is a 0% chance of a white ethno-state ever fucking happening. This is just idiots talking bullshit. They're just dumbass racists, dreaming about the day they can get rid of the darkies, but it's never gonna fucking happen. 0% chance. The problem is, as Richard Spencer spreads his propaganda about how great and wonderful a white ethno-state would be, about how we need the white ethno-state, about what a utopia society would be. It does nothing but spread hatred about minorities and demean them. And as the dumbasses who follow Richard Spencer hear what he has to say, hear about how glorious this white ethno-state is, they get galvanized in their hate against minorities. And when they see the white ethno-state is never actually going to happen, they get very frustrated, and it tends to lead them to violence. Which is why it's so dangerous to irresponsibly platform these white supremacist assholes. And I know people are going to call me an SJW for saying this, but it's really easy for white guys to platform people like Richard Spencer because the hate and violence that comes from it will not be directed at them in any way. They really had nothing to worry about. And as we saw, Warski was actually incredibly rewarded for it. He made thousands upon thousands of dollars. He got thousands of new subscribers. Undoubtedly, ton of new Patreons who will be paying him over and over for every video he made. Like it or not, hate it or not, but this was actually a giant win for Andy Warski. And as I said, there are plenty of people out there who think Warski did absolutely nothing wrong. They're like, who cares if he took money from white supremacists? He should take all their money he can. Fuck them. They shouldn't have that money. And it's good that he had Richard Spencer on because everybody got a chance to see what a fucking moron Richard Spencer is. And I totally understand that argument too, which is why I'm kind of on the fence about this whole thing. So that's the story. That's what happened. And now I want to get your guys' feedback. Do you guys think it's okay to platform white supremacists like Richard Spencer? Or should we not give them access to our platforms? Should we not hand them our megaphone and instead lead them to their own platforms and beat them by ridiculing them? As I said, I'm totally open-minded about this. I just wanted to start this discussion and get you guys' feedback, hear what you guys have to say about it. So you guys let me know what you think. Was Warski incredibly irresponsible, or did he do nothing wrong? Should we platform these white supremacists, or should we shun them? I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thanks for listening. And as always, I love you guys, and until next time, logic. Fuck yes. Hey guys, Dusty Smith here. Thanks for joining me. And thanks to the adpocalypse, I am now making $0 from YouTube. All of my videos have been demonetized. So if you would like to support my work, please consider buying a t-shirt from my website, cultofdusty.com, or sponsoring me on Patreon. You can click the link here. The money I get on Patreon goes to supporting the Humanist Society of Mississippi Animal Sanctuary and all the animals we rescue. So if you're able at all, please chip in $1 or $2. It really helps. We do a lot of good work here, and it means a lot. Thanks a lot.